Hello and welcome to Zulf Photography. In this episode, Zulf asks Reddit questions. They're photography related questions and I get you the answers. In today's episode, the question I asked was, what do you think about Canon Mirrorless now? So that's something interesting. On Reddit, there's a great community. You get loads of responses. You'll see I've got 48 comments just there. So I'll bring you this from the perspective of all those photography members, which will give you a better idea rather than just my opinions. So Canon mirrorless cameras versus DSLR cameras is kind of where I'm going with this. So I asked that question off the back of an article I saw, which was on f-stoppers. They were basically saying something along the lines of Canon just painted in some insanely fast prime lenses, and they were geared towards the mirrorless market. So I asked the question. Let's see what Reddit came back with. So Matt Grum, thank you. Canon patent a lot of stuff, most of which never sees the light of day. That's an interesting observation. I feel like these sites definitely know that, but still publish these clickbait articles to draw traffic and pad their news section. So that's true. You have to take it with a pinch of salt when sometimes articles come up, but it's interesting to get the conversation going. These sites make money from clicks. Whether or not they're right, it's irrelevant. People will visit, read, and then agree and tell others or disagree, and then complain about it to others. Yeah, fair comment. So that's what it is about. You find news, you discuss news, people share their opinions. Maybe Canada will see and do something about it. Monsuma. Sorry if I say that wrong. Beautiful pictures, but I get motion sickness from looking through the viewfinder. That's through the mirrorless, I'm assuming. So I looked at saying check this out. So I looked at that. Something like the S1H with EF lenses, please. Interesting. BMPCC 6K has an EF mount. Could be an alternative. So that's a few options looking at that. That's Alameda. So a little bit about that. Good point. That's a good camera you can use EF lenses on. So that's basically just elaborating on that. I love the articulating flip screen that the S1H has. That's a good thing. Extra and is it a one upvote I suppose for the S1H? S1H uses L mount lenses, right? Sigma makes an adapter to put Canon EF lenses onto L mount cameras, supposedly retaining AF, aperture control, and IS. Sigma MC21, that's a good example. Abrogations. Interesting thing. So you get loads of good comments from people. A lens being 0.95 means nothing. Corrupt boomerang is a Nikon shooter. Interesting. Sure, having fast glass is nice. Having a fat lens is cool, but having a lens that produces nice images is better. So I just quoted him, having a fat lens. I said, this is awesome. That's a great way to put it. Let's just check him out 1 minute. Sorry. Is he been here for a while? Oh, there's one of the big ones in it. Okay, so Frank Riz, if Canon releases all lenses it patented, it should be in default since 2000. It patents lots of stuffs. 70% aren't realized at all. 70% feels like a low number. They have been in the top 5 for awarded patents in the US for the last 33 years. Good point. Interesting. I love it. Have completely switched from using 5D. What I hate, single SD card slots. Yeah, that is something to think about. Multiple SD cards is a big move forward, especially for backup and along those lines, keeping extending your cards if that's what you use it for. Ultimately, still sitting on my Canon DSLRs and will so for the foreseeable future. I am excited to get into mirrorless, but Canon's offerings are so weak right now, it is not worth it, and I ain't switching over to Sony or Fuji when I got enough in Canon lenses to buy a decent new car. Yes, really believable. I agree. Once you've committed to a brand and you've got all the lenses, they can be adapted to other cameras, but that's another whole new article. It is embarrassing how bad Canon is dropping the ball here. They could end the mirrorless rules tomorrow if they wanted to and lock up the photography market for the next 10 to 20 years, but instead they want to protect their DSLR and professional video markets, which they admit are rapidly dying. If I owned stock in Canon, I would be selling it like it was Eastman Kodak stock in 2000. Interesting. That's what I like about Reddit. People have their views and they can share great things like that. My theory, decibels, 7 years, okay. The EOS R is the mirrorless little brother to the 5D Mark IV. We are expected to see the 5D Mark III. I'm not great with Roman numerals. By the end of next year, following the launch of the IDX3, I'd be willing to bet eating my socks after an all-day shoot that will see the Pro Range EOS R body next year around October 2020. I'll put that on my calendar. Keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, you're gonna eat your socks, mate. They've made us salivate over the lenses they've dropped for the RF now. We just need bodies to match. Iffy hockey. Buying a new Canon body next year won't be mirrorless. You know what? Go on, mate. You get a little tick on that one. Okay. Well, should ask him why, shouldn't I? Let's do that live. Why? Why would you say that? What what will you be getting? There. Okay. Let's see if it comes back. Okay, if the 18mm f1 were ever made, it would be the most ridiculous lens ever built. I'm not even certain it can be built. Probably like most Canon patents, it will stay on paper. Okay. If the 18, okay, yeah, it's replying to that. More ridiculous than this, or this, or this, or this. I don't want to click on all those because that will open up a whole new minefield, but I will check that out. I'll link you to this article in the description so you can check out more details. I'm certain it can be made. Whether there's a large enough market to make it profitable, I very much doubt. Boom. You have a point. It is in the top 10 most ridiculous lens designs. I just knew two of those were gonna be that Nikon fisheye and the Sigma Hulk lens. Yeah. Okay, Burning One RR. Nikon was rightly ridiculed for releasing a manual focus 095 lens when they didn't even have a 2.8. Sony came straight out and said that they wouldn't be producing the f1 lens due to a lack of demand. So this doesn't really change my opinion of Canon. I mean, I think it has more to do with the fact that Sony has the smallest throw of all of the mirrorless manufacturers, which makes designing lenses faster than 1.4 prohibitively expensive, and why their fast primers are as expensive as they are. That being said, Sony doesn't have any native 1.2 lenses, and there are 1.4 glass starts at $1,400. Meanwhile, Canon dropped the 85 1.2 and it was back ordered at release up until just recently, and it's being lauded as optically the best 85mm ever produced by most of the reviews out there. Okay, so quoting in there. Okay, I really doesn't have anything to do with the mount. It does make, okay, I'll get the main ones, I think, because this video is going on a bit, so I might get the main ones, but I will link you to the article and you can check this out. It doesn't really matter. Tell me more. Lens I'll never be able to afford or have. I use